failure is only failure when you stop trying. You will, God doesn't promise you that you won't fall down. Falling down is inevitable, but getting back up is completely optional.
True change will only come when you are frustrated enough about a problem to do something about it. Do more than tweet. Do more than pray. We've been praying for Nigeria for what feels like an eternity. Do more than pray. It's like we've mastered the scripture that says pray without ceasing. But we have forgotten about the scripture that says faith without works is dead. Each one of us must do what we can to make it a little better. If you really, truly, sincerely want your country to be better, fix it yourself.
A better country would make it easier for you to chase the journey that you want to chase. It is a disgrace that SARS has been allowed to continue with this impunity. It is a disgrace on us as a people that they are allowed to brutalize and beat young people and collect bribes. It's a disgrace. Why has there not been an investigation to say, you know what, stop it, let's trace what, let's follow up some of these stories? Why? Because the people who were concerned don't even vote. So they don't owe us any explanation. So please, while we say we're going to chase our dreams and all of that, it will be infinitely easier with a better environment. And this is probably the very first step in each of us playing a role in making this environment better for ourselves and our children. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 don't just clap. Don't just plan your own journey, but register to vote. And in that way, we can play our role in making Nigeria better.
So Banky, just tell us what they asked you at the interview and what you said.
Pastor Tony is referencing an interview where I was talking to young people. And I always do a survey, and every time I ask, oh, who has a voter's card? 10, 20, maybe 30% of the people in the room. But when something bad happens, we are the first to complain. And I'm talking about young people. President says the youth are lazy. Social media went crazy. But then, who has their voter's card? The easiest way to rig an election is if there are 100 people in this room and I make an allotment for 100 votes and 10 people show up. What happens to the remaining 90 spaces? And I hear the same things. Oh, our votes don't count. They're going to rig it anyway. Well, guess what? If you don't get your voter's card, you just made it easy for them to rig. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even concerned about who you are going to vote for yet. Just get the card.
You are in charge, but you, along with everybody else, we are all in charge of the destiny of this country. I promise you, 50 to 60% of 90 million young people, whatever we decide in this country, if we do it together, it will happen. It will stand. And there's nothing anybody can do about it.
When people say, oh, I don't know, I don't support any of the candidates, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm like, so essentially what you're saying to me is that you will give your voice away because you don't yet know what you want to say. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, just think about that. You have a voice that God gave you and you want to give it away because you don't yet know what you want to say. You don't know what you want to say, fine. But just hold on to your voice because one day you will. One day something might hit home that is close to you. Something might hit home. It might be a terrorism attack, God forbid. It might be an armed robbery incident. It might be somebody needing a job. Something will hit home in this country that is close to you one day. And you will regret the fact that you didn't even use the voice that you have.
Absolutely.
It starts with the Just get the card first.
So when we did, Occupy Nigeria, when we did Enough is Enough, when we did Light Up Nigeria, it all started as social media hashtags. But the key, I think, for me is that it cannot end on social media. So while, and that I think is the challenge that we're trying to face now. So, election season is here in Nigeria, and when it comes to pointing out what is wrong, our generation seems to be very, very good at that. But the problem is that activism tends to mostly end online. And INEC, if you're Nigerian, INEC doesn't count tweets. They don't count your likes on Instagram, So all of that, like, we can have these discussions on social media, and, make ourselves feel like we're part of the change. But are we really, really playing our role if all it does is just end in retweets and hashtags? So the key is that it has to go beyond social media. Social media is a very powerful tool, but it's not the only tool.
Nothing happens in that sunken place. Nothing happens in that room. In your room where you're sitting and crying to yourself and upset and frustrated, nothing good is going to come to you in that room. So you get up, you get out of the room, and you keep going, and you try again. Maybe you change, you keep the goal, but you change your tactics. It's like playing football.